Next bill on the agenda, House File 863, Representative Wogelman. He's got an amendment. Representative Wogelman, and you have an amendment too.
Mr. Chair, that is correct.
So why don't you move your amendment and then tell us what it does?
Mr. Chair and members of the committee, I would like to start off by moving the adoption of the A1 amendment. It is pretty simple. It takes the numbers from the fiscal note and puts them into the blank appropriation spots that are in the bill. I will be happy in my presentation to explain those numbers in the broader context of the bill.
So to the amendment, I don't see any discussion. All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion prevails. The amendment is adopted and the bill is in the form the author wishes. Representative Wogelman.
Mr. Chair and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to present House File 863. As all of you know, our law enforcement agencies are experiencing dire workforce shortages. It's happening in my community in St. Cloud, and it's happening here in the Twin Cities, and it's happening through every community in our state. And this workforce shortage in law enforcement places a direct threat to the safety and security of our communities. So it's incumbent upon us to use every tool at our disposal to attract more people into the law enforcement profession. That's why I'm bringing forward House File 863, which is a bill to establish a time-limited tuition relief grant program for students pursuing an associate degree in law enforcement to incentivize more individuals to become peace and police officers. Mr. Chair and members, here's how the bill works. To be eligible, a student must be considered a Minnesota resident and be enrolled in a professional peace officer education program by September 1st, 2028. Students must also complete the FAFSA and apply for state and federal grants. Students must make satisfactory academic progress, and they can only receive a grant for a maximum of 4 semesters. Grants must be paid back and deposited into the general fund if any recipient does not complete a police officer program by June 30th of 2031. And grants must also be paid back if a student completes a program but does not become a police officer. Want to give you a sense, Mr. Chair and members, of the numbers that this would affect. You can see on page 4 of the fiscal note, in the fall of 2021, there were 883 Minnesota resident students enrolled in eligible law enforcement programs. Of those students, 633 submitted a FAFSA and would meet the eligibility requirements for the program that we would be creating in House File 863. So based on the estimated need of the 633 students, 271 would qualify for an award in fiscal year 2024 with an average annual award of $2,798, and in fiscal year 2025, 221 students would qualify for an award with an average annual award of $3,831. Mr. Chair and members, that's how we get to the appropriation that was put onto the bill through the adoption of the A1 amendment. It would be $960,000 in fiscal year 2024, $954,000 in fiscal year 2025, and then $923,000 going forward in ongoing through 2031. I would also like to draw the attention to members of a letter that is in your packets that was submitted by the Minnesota Peace and Police Officers Association, sharing their wholehearted support for House File 863, as it will enhance the recruitment of new public safety officers into the law enforcement profession. That is the bill, Mr. Chair, and I'd be more than happy to take any questions that you or members of the committee may have.
Questions from the committee? Or Representative Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I want to thank the author for bringing House File 863 as amended. I don't like using the word crisis because we use it too often, but if there is a crisis, this would be one of them, and this bill starts to address that. So thank you very much, and I'm hoping we see this in a bigger bill.
Representative Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Wogelman, Did I hear you right? This would pay for the total amount of tuition and fees? And did you say that that was around 2,000 some odd dollars annually? Or is that per semester?
Representative Vogelman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Representative Scott. I would draw your attention to page 4 of the fiscal note, if you have that. Towards the middle there, it says that based on the estimated remaining need of the of the 633 students, which is calculated by tuition and fees minus Pell Grant, state grant, and the average institutional grant, 271 students will qualify for an award in fiscal year 2024 with an average annual award of $2,798. And then in fiscal year 2025, 221 students would qualify for an award with an average annual award of $3,831.
Representative Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So do you happen to know, I mean, that means that all these other things could be layered on top of that award. So do you know the average cost of tuition at one of these institutions for law enforcement?
Representative Vogelman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do not have that number in front of me, but maybe someone from the Office of Higher Education or our fiscal staff could fill in that number.
Representative Vogelman, we're in possession of the bill too, and we can get that as
That's-
we move
Yeah,
along.
I'm curious how far, that'll go and how much, what a percentage of the total tuition that would cover.
Representative Hanson.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Vice Chair Wolgamott. I just wanted to remind us that last year we had a similar bill before us that we talked about, and in that conversation, we talked about the importance of an interdisciplinary approach to making sure that we can address the needs that are happening within our communities. That a holistic public safety approach isn't just making sure that there's just more police. They need our support in making sure we can help with some of the ancillary things that they deal with, whether it be mental health crises, domestic violence cases, whatever that may be. So I don't know about most people, but I've heard over and over in my community at least that our officers are asking us to make some equitable investments in social workers as well, so that we can continue to have social workers at some of these really, really intense mental health crisis events, because it is a crisis, and I do think that that is the right place to use this word. We've heard it statewide. And so I just want to go on record as saying I still support that. I still think that's important. I have a number of bills that are in this committee's possession to do that as well. And so as we go forward, to the folks that have asked me to add this is me kind of fulfilling their request on that. So thank you, Vice Chair Wolgamott.
Representative Vogelman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Hanson. I cannot agree with you more. There are many things that we need to do as a legislature to support our law enforcement and support our communities and enhance public safety. This bill certainly is not the one, magical solution that is going to solve all of those, but is one way that we as a committee, as a legislature, is one tool that I'm hoping we can use to incentivize more people into the law enforcement profession. But I absolutely agree with you and would be eager to work with you on those efforts to bring a holistic approach to supporting our law enforcement, to enhancing the law enforcement profession, of course, with the ultimate goal of keeping our community safe, of keeping our peace and police officers safe. And yeah, would look forward to working with you on those other bills. Thank you.
Representative McDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In the interest of time, I will keep this very short. Representative Wolgamott, I know there's a couple schools, Alexandria Tech is one of them, and Wilmer that offer schools training and schools for law enforcement. Do you have a list of other schools in the metro area or throughout the state? Just curious of the number of schools that offer this program for a law degree. And I do have the number if you wanted to know what it cost, but per tuition.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Representative McDonald. I do not have such a list on hand at the moment, but I would be happy to get that to you while this bill remains in the possession of this committee.
I think we may have it.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I have the list of approved post-board programs. Would you like me to read the institutions, or I can also forward it to the
Representative
committee
McDonald,
members?
do you want
Yes,
to have
yes,
it
sir.
read? Sure.
Okay, so the post-board approved programs, degree granting programs are at Alexandria Technical and Community College, Bemidji State University, Central Lakes College, Century College, Concordia University in St. Paul, Fond du Lac Tribal and Community College, Hamlin University, Hennepin Technical College, Inver Hills Community College, Leech Lake Tribal College, Metropolitan State University, Minneapolis Community and Technical College, Minnesota North College, both the Hibbing and Vermilion campuses, Minnesota State Community and Technical College, Minnesota State University Moorhead, Minnesota West Community and Technical College, Northland Community and Technical College, Rasmussen University, Ridgewater College, Riverland Community College, Rochester Community and Technical College, Southwest Minnesota State University, St. Cloud State University, St. Mary's University, University of Minnesota Crookston, University of Northwestern and St. Paul, University of St. Thomas, and Winona State University.
I hope you wrote all those down.
Mr. Chair, I'd also be happy to forward this to the
Just forward. All right, last word, Representative Wolgamott.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee for your consideration of House File 863. Now is the time to invest in the next generation of peace and police officers. Now is the time to fund education opportunities for law enforcement. Let's include House File 863 in our final finance omnibus bill. Let's ensure that our local police chiefs and sheriffs have the workforce they need to keep our communities safe. Thank you, Mr. Chair.